everybody. Good morning and welcome in. It is Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Side by side today.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Together in the showroom in Prattville.
And we have got video evidence that the sun is rising in Prattville, Alabama, the preferred community. We are in the showroom of Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Let me paint the picture. Just to our left, your right.
Yeah.
Just a small fraction of the lot of vehicles. The sun is rising, glinting down not only on absolutely breathtaking Jeeps right over there, Dodge Rams over here, all over the place, but also the sun is shining down on those price tags, John.
Well, you're right about that, Barry. And as I drove into the dealership this morning, I went around to the rear of the dealership, more vehicles back there as well. It's just amazing how many vehicles they have on the ground here at Prattville Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer. Let that sink in for a minute. Largest volume. And here's a couple of reasons why, Barry. Ram 1500 Laramie packages up to $17,000 off, plus 3.9% APR for 72 months.
Yep.
Or you can get that 1500 Laramie at up to $21,000 off, or 1.9% for 72 months. 25 and 3500 diesels up to 14 grand off. Yeah, right there. Right here.
That's what it says.
It's Stivers in Prattville. You're saving thousands and thousands on the popular Ram lineup from 1500s all the way up to 3500s. That's just a few of the many great things we're going to be telling you about here toward the end of the month here at Prattville.
Oh, it's the 28th. The deals are hot. Just as hot, maybe even a touch hotter than the Alabama basketball team.
Well, you're right. I just want to go ahead and start it off. I was wrong. And I don't say that very often.
Yeah, even when he is.
Yeah.
Sometimes he doesn't say that often.
But it did happen last night. Alabama certainly put it all together. They looked really good last night against this BYU team. I thought it was a very entertaining game as well. It was one that was enjoyable to watch. But, Barry, all is not lost. Might have lost the Phantoms' daily dog. But, Barry, one thing that did happen last night, if you're not going to cover for me, I hope you get blown out.
Well, yeah, and they did. Last night in the Sweet 16, Alabama beats BYU 113-88. They win it by 25.
Yeah.
113-88, an NCAA tournament record 25 three-pointers.
Woo.
They took 51 three-point shots. John, they took 15 two-point shots. And they made 10 of them.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. This is how bad it was. Alabama moves on to the Elite Eight. This is how bad it was. Even if Alabama had not made a single two-point shot in the entire game.
Yeah.
Even if they cancel out the layups, cancel out the jumpers or the hooks from the post or whatever. Even without a single two-point shot, Alabama would have won that game.
That's amazing. And Barry, I think at one time I saw a stat that BYU hit 22 shots inside the paint or something like that to Alabama's 6, and I'm thinking, wow, that's a pretty big differential. But when you hit it from the three-point line, it really doesn't matter that much. Yeah. Certainly Alabama was killing it from behind the arc. Mark Sears with an incredible night. I want to say, Barry, he was one shy of a tournament record. And Nate Oates, pulled him, and I'm kind of thinking, let the guy at least tie it or try to eclipse it. The broadcasters mentioned that.
Sears went nuts. 34 points. He made 10 three-pointers.
Yeah.
Made 1 two-pointer.
Wow.
Just throw it in.
Yeah.
Why not? 10 of 16 from three-point range. He also had 8 assists, 3 steals. Absolutely extraordinary. He hit 10 of their 25. Heck, Aiden Holloway was 6 of 13 from three-point range. He ends up with 23. Chris Youngblood hit 5 three-pointers. He ended up with 19. Part of it was because, quite frankly, BYU didn't defend the three very well.
They didn't.
it was as though, I mean, it was in the first half, BYU was 1 for 13 from three-point range themselves, and they are a three-point shooting team. But it's like, Alabama was shooting 51 three-pointers, and BYU was okay with that.
Yeah.
They were like, all right, yeah, I guess
tried to do a little, defended a little better in the second half, a little tighter out there on the perimeter, but to no avail. And there were some three-pointers that were made there. You're going, whoa, where did that one come from?
Yeah.
So they were certainly having the hot hand last night. Big win in a game there again. I thought BYU could beat Alabama. Certainly thought they could keep it within the number, the same style. But I just think, obviously, the incredible shooting, but the overall athleticism of Alabama's team just wore down on BYU. And I thought it was kind of physical, too, as well. I wasn't expecting a physical game, but there was some contact. There was some pushing and some elbowing and some flagrant fouls last night. Yeah. Oh, man.
Here we go. All right. Let's do it. I mean, if they'd have had a turnbuckle in a basketball, if they had 4 turnbuckles, John would be absolutely okay with that.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But, it was a big win for the Tide, and Alabama Nation is very excited about going to the Elite Eight for yet again. I mean, is it too early for me to poo-poo on what's going to happen tomorrow night? Should I just let them revel in the victory of getting to the Final Eight? They're only a 6.5-point underdog tomorrow night.
I love it when John uses poo-poo as a verb. That's one of my favorites out there. Also yesterday in the Sweet 16, Florida Gators, they beat Maryland 87-71, look strong. And then you get to the late games. I don't know. I had a game to do myself last night. And I don't know why this happened. Maybe somebody can tell me. Duke beats Arizona 100-93. Did that game start late? I mean, did it start later than scheduled?
Because it seemed the Alabama game was over about a little after. That game didn't seem long. It was about 8 o'clock, 8:15.
Well, okay.
And they seemed to be on the floor pretty quick. I mean, I went to go, I don't know, wash my hands or something, and I came back and went, whoa, the game's already started.
Yeah, okay. This is what's interesting about NCAA tournament games. We saw it in Milwaukee last week. You have to get out each session. You can't, unless you do, and I guess some people do, I guess you can, buy a ticket for both sessions.
Yep.
Even if you do, you got to get out. They clear the arena and then open it again for the next game and everything. And all that's like, 40 minutes?
Yeah.
So I remember when Troy played last week against Kentucky, the game before was Ole Miss and North Carolina. That game ended. It was close at the end. That game ended. There ain't no, North Carolina fans coming down and hugging the North Carolina players and everything like that. And the Ole Miss fans, there ain't no rushing the court or anything like that. Because, as soon as it's over, this vast machinery of NCAA people shoves people out, gets fans out, gets the guy out there with the broom, and then boom, here come the fans. They pretty much, and there were a lot of Kentucky fans for the Troy game.
Sure.
They're having to sprint in there, get their seats and everything. So I was wondering about that because this is probably the worst case scenario for basketball fans in a Sweet 16 setting. Duke beats Arizona, a lot of points. They win by 7, 100-93. Then Arkansas and Texas Tech. That game starts late. That was the late game.
Yep.
Goes to overtime
in San Francisco.
God bless all of you who are watching us live this morning at 7:09 on Friday morning for staying up late for an overtime game in the final game of 4 in the NCAA Sweet 16.
Yeah.
That one took forever.
Yeah, and tough for Arkansas to lose by 2 in overtime. Calipari, they got to be happy in Arkansas. I don't think they expected this team to go as far as they did, particularly starting out 0-5 in the league. So good run for Coach Cal and the Hogs.
He can coach.
But yeah, you're right about that. Game goes to overtime. And I watched a little of that game, Barry. You know me. I'm looking at crowd size. I'm looking at things other than what's happening on the field on the court.
Cheerleaders, whatever.
And I know the ratings for this tournament have been phenomenal. That's all I've heard, talking about how great the ratings are. And if San Diego State and Florida Atlantic were in it, they'd be tanking. Maybe they would be, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe that's not fair. Well, that's true. I believe that would be the case. But anyway, I'm watching the game.
Is that the point? Don't you want to have
There
good
was
basketball?
nobody in the stands in San Francisco, and I'm thinking, San Francisco didn't even have an NBA team. They're over in Oakland or something, aren't they? In Golden State across the bridge.
Well, yeah.
And I'm thinking, San Francisco, I thought it was a little, Texas Tech, Arkansas, I get it. I mean, they're a long way from home, but if you're at an NCAA tournament Sweet 16 game, shouldn't there be more people there?
Well, since John goes off on this negative tangent, I might as well bring this up now before we move on to tonight's action.
I'm in a negative mood, Barry, after losing the Daily Dog. I'm not real happy, but
John gets in here. First thing, a lot of us sprints in here. Of course, two things before he gets on the air: coffee and Phillip. He's already gotten that taken care of.
Oh, yeah.
Shall I go ahead and bring up what the prognostication would be for tomorrow night?
Yes, please.
Alabama versus Duke in the Elite Eight. That's at 7:49. Why are they still putting games on TBS this late? That's a TBS game. Alabama versus Duke. Do we want to go ahead and address that while people are riding high from the Crimson Tide?
Barry, I happened to be stumbling channel surfing and saw Janiyah Broome and Bruce Pearl on the TBS studio show last night,
right?
Which I thought was interesting. Day before their big game against Michigan. Of course, TBS is in Atlanta. Auburn's in Atlanta. I think State Farm Arena is probably, 10 blocks from the TBS studios.
Sounds about right.
So that was kind of a nice little plug for the Auburn game. But
Alabama
night,
Duke. Again, TBS or True TV or something. Brian Anderson, Jim Jackson, Allie LaForce, 8:49 tomorrow night. Can you go ahead and clue people in on what the expectation is for the Crimson Tide and the Blue Devils?
I'm glad to know Allie LaForce is doing another Alabama game. I think she's done every Alabama game that they've been in the tournament. My initial first reaction, my first thought, and some people say, you ought to go with your initial reaction. And I said it all week. I mean, does anybody out there really think Alabama's got a chance to beat Duke? Really?
You guys,
chat line's open.
I see you. I see you guys on the chat line up and down here.
I mean, really?
You guys,
are you expecting that? There again, I've got about 24, 36 hours to get that finalized before tip-off. I'm trying to do the math in my head, but I got a little time before I've really got to make my final decision on the Tide and the Blue Devils. But my initial reaction is it's going to be it has been a great year for the Crimson Tide. And, when they pack the bags,
have done fine.
Yeah.
You really have. Bama Nation is proud of you. But it ends here.
Well, I'll take it even further. Barry,
and he usually does.
Do you really think this team's going to win the national championship? I mean, if they make it to the Final Four, do you really think they're going to go all the way? I know there's Cinderella stories out there, and unusual things happen from time to time. See 2010, but
I thought we were.
Yeah,
we're talking about
I'm just using that as an example. But I can't see it. I just cannot see it. You look at where Duke is on the money line to win the national championship compared to where Alabama is. 6.5. Is that enough?
We'll talk about Auburn, who plays in a moment. Of course, we got a lot about Auburn we're going to talk about on the show this morning.
But nothing, I don't want to take anything away, Barry, from that huge win last night.
Here's what I think. Duke coach John Shire got a lot of really good coaches over there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why BYU seems so disinterested in guarding the arc. and it probably wouldn't have made a difference. Alabama would have won. A lot of those threes that Alabama shot were uncontested threes. Just catch it and shoot it.
Yep.
There isn't any screens. There's not any drives and step backs or anything. They just were catching it and shooting it and making it. I don't think Duke's going to let them do that. And if they don't, this is the point I know John has been making for a good while. If Alabama is heavily guarded at the three-point line, they better have what John terms to be a plan B. What is the plan B?
I think Grant Nelson could be big in this game tomorrow night.
I agree.
Barry, but I'm not sure he can handle. Well, they got a couple of bigs down there for Duke that I think could be an issue. So, I think it's going to be a tall order. But hey, nothing. I think Bama fans should revel in that big win last night. There again, I was wrong. Be the first. Well, second time I've told you in 15 minutes. You don't hear that very
often. And the third time this year. So,
But it was a big win for the Tide, 113 points. Probably the only bad thing about
pat you on the head.
They finally got some of the bench guys in.
You knew it was going to be good. You knew you can go ahead and do whatever you do when the Crimson Tide wins. When near the end of the ball game, now entering the game, number 45, Max Charnowski. Then you can go ahead and say, fellas, this one is in the bag.
I think Max, this might have been his second NCAA tournament appearance this year. He has yet to touch the ball. I mean, if Max is going in the game, can you at least let him get a touch?
In basketball, I don't know if I should say this, but it's not like dirty or anything. But in basketball stats, John, you call that a trillion, because you look at his box score and it's a 1 followed by a ton of zeros. They call that a trillion in basketball. When you look, minutes played, 1. Shots, 0. 3-point shots, 0. Free throws, 0. Rebounds, 0. Personal foul, 0. Assists, turnovers, zeros. They call it a trillion. A 1 followed by whatever it is. 8 zeros.
I mean, Max, what have you got to lose? I mean,
it's the NCAA tournament, buddy. When you have grandkids someday and they're sitting at your knee by the fireside, let me tell you how old Grandpop here launched a triple against BYU in the NCAA tournament.
I mean, what's the coach going to do? Put you on the bench? I mean,
he's already on the bench.
I mean, look, when you get that golden opportunity to get 38 seconds of playing time, you don't go out there just to run up down the court and get in the way.
Yeah.
You're going for the ball. I mean, you're at least foul somebody.
Yeah, get your name in the stats or get a number in the stats other than minutes played. 1. Put something else.
I've never,
turnover.
It's like these guys are scared. They're intimidated. Well, if I not do anything, coach might get mad. So what? I mean,
this is from a guy who ticked his coach off all the time.
Yeah.
And look how he turned out.
I can promise you, if that ball touched my hand, it was going up in the air. I don't care if we were up by 40.
Well,
I was shooting.
So Alabama wins. John says enjoy it because it's your final win of the season, Bama fans.
Is that too harsh?
Auburn is coming up tonight. We'll talk about that in a moment. We are live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. The deals are smoking.
Well, they are, Barry. They're smoking on yellow paper today. We told you about the Ram lineup just a moment ago. How about the Jeep lineup here at Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram? Compass starting at $21,999. That's over $7,500 off. The Jeep Wrangler Sierra up to $17,000 off, or 0% for 72 months.
Beautiful vehicle.
And the Jeep Grand Cherokee up to $17,000 off, or 0% for 72 months. So many to choose from. It's not 4 or 5 they're trying to move off the lot. It's every vehicle here at Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer right here in Prattville.
For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. We are underway in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. Zero alcohol. Zero compromise.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
There we go. Hello, everybody. Back at it here. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, and a beautiful Friday here. Been getting a lot of good reaction. Talked to a lot of people yesterday in the yesterday evening, enjoying the show, watching the show, listening on Spotify, really enjoying it. And certainly we appreciate the likes and the subscribes and just the word of mouth out there. So many people over these, how long have we been on? 6 months? A little bit more than that. This is episode 160, 149. Am I reading that correctly?
Really? Monday will be our 150th episode?
150th episode will be Monday. How about that?
It's flown by.
It has.
Well, getting a lot of chats on there. Bama Greg, who I want to say, I seem to remember. Greg, tell me if I'm wrong. Bama Greg Thompson on our River Region Straw chat line. In the past, hasn't he been critical of Bama basketball? I know he was talking the other day about the guy he called Kalen DeBoard, but he don't like it when Charles Barkley is critical of Alabama basketball. He says, welcome to Mark's Madness. It's raining threes, and Charles Barkley makes a fool of himself on TV, picking BYU. What an Aub homer he is.
Well,
breaking news. Bama Greg lets us know that Charles Barkley is an Aub homer.
Well, you know, Greg,
big if true.
I've got something in common with Charles. Not a lot, but I picked BYU as well in the Daily Dog yesterday. I've got a little bit more wiggle room, though. I just had them to cover the spread.
Yeah.
But that wasn't even close either. But, I did see where Chuck picked BYU, and I thought his, explanation and breakdown was, I could buy into that.
I mean, Greg, did you expect Alabama to hit 35 three-pointers? No, 25 three-pointers? I mean, is that what you – no, Chuck, you're an Aub homer. Alabama's going to hit 25 three-pointers in this game. I also noticed this from Charles Barkley. This is on one of the statewide networks. Is Charles Barkley interested in owning a casino in Alabama? Charles says, goodness gracious me. Yes, I am.
I'm interested too.
Yeah.
Just don't limit it to Charles.
Yeah, I'm interested in. Yeah. John is interested in Charles owning a casino in Alabama.
Chuck, can I get in on that with you? I'm all in.
Now, the games yesterday, again, Alabama advances, Florida advances, Duke advances, Texas Tech advances, all of the higher seeds advance to the Elite Eight. Alabama advances to the Elite Eight for the second time.
Yep. Third time in program history.
Third time in program history, twice in a row under Nate Oates. Who is it here who was saying that, I think it was JJ, said he better get that contract ready for Oates because people are going to start coming to call. So that is done. Today, the first game of the day is Ole Miss and Michigan State. That is from Atlanta.
Yeah.
6:09 on CBS.
6:09.
Then at 6:39, it's Kentucky and Tennessee, a 3 seed versus a 2.
Yep.
That's a fairly big rivalry. Tennessee has a lot of rivalry games. That'll be
what? Wait a minute.
Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Alabama, I think. That'll be at the Midwest Regional, which is in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.
I've never been.
Why in the world do they have? Why do they have still football stadiums hosting these things.
I'm
The
with you
sidelines
there.
are bad.
I
you know,
totally agree.
there's so much depth
Totally.
behind the baskets and everything. If you got to have an NCAA tournament game at a football stadium, might as well make it the championship.
I mean,
game,
don't the
Final
Pacers
Four.
play in a nice facility? Could they not
They do
figure that out? I
Absolutely
mean,
do.
You know, the Hawks
Anyway.
are obviously on the road for Atlanta to host the Sweet 16 there at State Farm. I'm with you, Barry. Basketball in the Dome is horrible.
Horrible to watch, horrible to play
seen
in.
it in Atlanta, seen it in New Orleans, saw it at the old Pontiac Silverdome. How about that? Saw Vandy in Kansas with Gurn, senior, years ago. Vandy in Kansas.
Where the Lions play.
Yeah, it was horrible. I mean, we were so high up, looking down at that floor, they look like ants down there.
One of the most iconic shots in NCAA basketball tournament history. Freshman Michael Jordan hitting the jumper in the final seconds for North Carolina to win their game.
Georgetown.
Against Georgetown at the Superdome.
At the Superdome.
Oh,
sure
goodness
was.
gracious. Anyway, so that's in Indianapolis. The third game is the second game at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Number 5 seed Michigan versus the number 1 overall seed in the entire shebang, the Auburn Tigers. Ian Eagle, Bill Raftery, Grant Hill, the Wolf, they're going to be there.
So let me paint this.
8:39 Central Time. That place better be
It'll be full.
Full of all.
It'll be full. Now, they're staying out in Peachtree City, but it'll be full.
Hey, wasn't Jason driving out yesterday? He's actually spending the night. Will a lot of the Auburn fans spend the night? Or will they drive back?
No, they might drive
late
back.
game.
Yeah, it is a late game. Hotels in downtown Atlanta are not cheap.
And then the final game, Purdue versus Houston.
Let me paint this little scenario for you. Just see how you think this is going. Say we're like, I don't know, 11 minutes left in the second half, and Auburn's up by 16. Compared to 11 minutes and a half, and Michigan's up by 7. What scenario are more likely for me to stay up and watch the end of the entire game, or I'm just going to go ahead and pack it in? I'm going to bed right now.
There might be some Auburn fans at the arena that would be facing the same dilemma. Look, if it's late, John's up early out here this morning. It gets late tonight. And Michigan's up on 7. Al Del Greco ain't coming in from the bench. He ain't coming in to save Auburn against Michigan again. He's about 60-something years old.
I was at that game, too. I was at the Al Del Greco Auburn-Michigan game.
At the Superdome.
At the Superdome. I sure was. Yeah. I sure was. You know.
If that's the scenario, Michigan's up 7 late against Auburn. Not only is John up, he's telling everybody, shut up. Kids, get to bed. Go upstairs. I don't care what you do.
I'm turning my phone off because it's dinging.
Phone is off. And John's saying, all right, all right, here we go. All right, come on now. Come on. Go Big Blue. Hey, no, this is a man who has raided a Maize and Blue Club tent down in the Orange Bowl, so he feels an affinity for those people. Come on, Michigan.
They throw a good pregame. I will say that. Michigan can throw a good pregame. Barry, you know, I'll tell you, it's amazing what a man will do for love. You know,
Monty Caldwell sang about that.
He sure did. And, you know, my first wife, Jackie, passed away. Her family, huge Auburn people.
You've told me that.
So Auburn gets to the Sugar Bowl in 83-ish.
Yeah.
Was that about when it was?
Yeah.
And Auburn hadn't been to the Sugar Bowl in a while. So her grandfather takes the whole family to New Orleans. And everybody. I mean, it's just 25 of the family, of the future in-laws. We're just dating at the time. We obviously didn't get married till 89, so we're in college. We're dating.
Whoa.
Boyfriend, girlfriend, and I get to tag along with her entire Auburn family. Got to be 25 of us down there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And, you know, they ain't a red, white shaker with it. They ain't even close. But I sat there and I bit my lip, I grinned and bared, and I went, hey, wiggle, wiggle, hey, wiggle. And it was, the Al Del Greco show.
And the future father-in-law looks down there. He goes, all right.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
now, of course.
He's like Robert De Niro in Meet the,
So yeah, oh yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah,
A little bit judgy over. All right,
Yeah.
okay. He said Weagle.
Yeah,
All right.
and then of course, Alice and I started dating and ended up getting married. And she, as we're going out, hey, you want to go to the Auburn game this week? And I acted like I didn't hear, kind of, if I don't answer, maybe she thinks I didn't hear her.
Kind of like when the server at the restaurant says, would you like to split the check?
Yeah.
Is this your check?
So sure, yeah, heck yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I want to go to the Auburn game. I'm thinking, what have I got myself into now? I actually went to multiple Auburn games with her and have since then.
Is love.
But yeah, I've got that picture of me looking up and there's the Jumbotron in the background. That was it. So yeah, I mean, I do remember that game quite fondly though, Barry, because Auburn was losing. It was like 6 minutes left. She goes, "Come on, let's go." But whoa, we ain't going anywhere. What do you mean, let's go? I want to watch the rest of this game. That didn't go over well.
That would be tonight if that were the case, and it's not the case.
Yeah.
I think Auburn wins it easily.
I do.
Easily. I mean, it ain't gonna be one possession.
I'll say this, Barry. I think they'll cover the spread.
Which is
8.5. Last I checked, Auburn was an 8.5 point favorite. I think they can win this game by 8.5 tonight.
There you go. And then they move on. Well, I don't want to get ahead, but if they win, they would move on into a matchup against either Ole Miss or Michigan State. I've watched Ole Miss. I'm impressed with Ole Miss. I think they beat Michigan State, setting up an all-SEC South Regional Final. Florida is already in the West Regional Final. There will definitely be an SEC team in the Midwest Regional Final because Kentucky plays Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama plays Duke in the East Regional Final. Still in play, an all-SEC Final Four. Don't think it happens.
I don't think it happens.
Can you imagine the heads exploding around the nation?
Oh, I think they already are. Because, man, they are talking SEC. For the record, Barry, Duke did not cover last night in their game. They were the largest favorite. They were a 9.5 point favorite against Arizona. Arizona only won by 7. So maybe Auburn can eclipse that, being the biggest favorite and covering the spread. Yeah, Barry, the national media is blowing up. There's no Cinderellas, so-called Cinderellas left in the Sweet 16. The ratings are through the roof, and they're going, wait a minute. The ratings are through the roof because everybody recognizes these teams, helmet games, as I call them. So people are familiar with it. Games have been good. But the fact that the SEC has dominated the tournament, 14 teams got in.
Correct.
There were 7 in the Sweet 16. Where's the ACC? Where's the Big East? Big Ten, all these other conferences and schools, they are blown away by how many teams the SEC has in. And I believe I heard Greg Sankey, he was on with Dan Patrick earlier this week, and they were talking about the SEC in the tournament. In Sankey's first year, there were only 3 teams in the tournament.
Really? Well, it has changed, but, be honest with yourselves. When it came out, and it's probably been 35 years ago, how many of you opened up the newspaper? A newspaper was a printed version of the news that they sold in newsstands, and you paid at one point like a dime for it. You open up the newspaper, and you say, hey, look over at the Carmike. There's a movie called Goodfellas on. I hear Paul Sorvino is in that movie. Honey, we got to... No, nobody does that. Nobody says... Me miss a Paul Sorvino movie? No, they're there for De Niro. They're there for Joe Pesci. They're there for for all of that. They're there for Paul Sorvino, and that's the reason why the ratings are the way they are right now.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Boy, I remember just you mentioned the newspaper. I used to get the highlighter out, the scissors. I'd cut articles out of the newspaper.
Yeah, man, the lady at the school library would get so mad at him.
When Barry and I were first together, I'd have all these
Longshore,
newspapers.
you put those scissors away
on the counter of our broadcast studio, and he'd open up the sports page. There'd be a big gap in it. Oh, wait a minute, where'd that story go? Oh, it's right here.
Exactly. You might as well forget about opening up the newspaper and looking at the lines.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that thing down in the bottom right corner was always gone.
But
we are still at it, though. 35 minutes into our first hour of the live show, we are broadcasting from the showroom of Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers are really hot in college basketball, and so are the deals at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer is Stivers in Prattville. And at Stivers, they have the largest selection of Ram trucks priced at thousands less than other dealers. How about a 2025 Ram Bighorn 4x4 crew cab with savings of up to $15,000 off sticker price? Also at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they have fantastic savings on the entire Jeep lineup, like the Wranglers and Jeep Grand Cherokees. Head over to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, where Price sells cars and trucks.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Already back at it, about 23 minutes to the top of the hour. We are live here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where Price sells cars. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer right here in Prattville. So, Barry, obviously Sweet 16 basketball is what's on everybody's minds. Alabama fans certainly glued into the game last night. But there was a scrimmage in Tuscaloosa yesterday. Spring football is underway. Kalen DeBoer had a post-scrimmage press conference. Didn't really say a lot. Did nothing earth-shattering. But it
Which
just,
you knew was
yeah. But just kind of, I thought, man, what's up with football these days?
The kind of the thermometer, the barometer, the litmus test I use for what's going on at Auburn is also the same one I use about Alabama, and that's the open forum at TiderInsider.com.
Sure.
You get the bottom line about what they are obsessed with Auburn over there, but this was crazy. And you brought this up the other day. Alabama's got a scrimmage. Auburn is scrimmaging soon. Alabama's got a scrimmage. In the day, man, we used to talk about it for 3 or 4 days. Yesterday, Alabama scrimmaged, and the Tider Insider message board, I don't know if they even mentioned it. Of course, you hit 25 three-pointers in a Sweet 16, and you got one guy who scores 34 and everything. It's the second straight year in the Elite Eight for a basketball program that very few people cared about before. I kind of get that, but really nothing about the Alabama scrimmage?
It really was. I checked out Tider Insider. It was kind of quiet, nothing buzzing.
Well,
and there again, I think that's what you better get used to. The days of all this. And Barry, I always wondered, really, I think it was just feel-good information. How concrete and factual was it? It was, man, it's spring. I'm jonesing for football. I want to hear something good. My buddy snuck in, or he's a whatever, can get access. He told me this. It spreads like wildfire. Come September, you're thinking, didn't somebody tell me back in March this guy was really going to be good? Most people forget about it. But in March, you go, man, I'm feeling really good. Here's some great stuff.
I read something, this has been maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it kind of stuck with me. You know, in Paris, France, they've got the Arc de Triomphe.
Correct.
Big, huge landmark. They had some guy fly his Piper Cub or his Cessna through the Arc de Triomphe or something like that.
Man.
Just you said he wanted to see if he could do it, right? I'm here to tell you, in this day and age, it is easier to fly your Piper Cub through the Arc de Triomphe than to get one of your buddies in there to an Alabama scrimmage.
I mean, Thursday at 8:30 in the morning? I mean, look, my guys like to kind of ease up to T-Town, maybe stop at Jim's Barbecue for lunch on the way up, have a couple of pops, get in the stadium, get in the shaded area, and get their phone out and start filming stuff incognito or texting me stuff about what's going on. Barry, I hate to admit this. Maybe I'm losing it. I did not get one text yesterday about what was going on at the scrimmage. I mean, what are you people doing?
It's not because they say the heck with you, John, or they're not friends of yours. It's because they can't get in anymore. They contribute dozens of dollars to the program, and they can't get in anymore. All I know is that Rodney says, statistically, it was a very good day, sounds like, for Ty Simpson. Multiple TD passes. In DeBoer's post-scrimmage contest, he confirmed what we've been reporting. The wide receiver group is standing out as perhaps the most improved unit. Now, some people immediately, can you see what's going on up there? He's saying, well, they only had one way to go, right?
Yeah, no,
from
kid.
last year.
You know? That tells me that somebody else other than Ryan Williams is catching passes.
Yeah.
Because there were points last year in that season. I'm going, is there anybody else that's eligible? Is there another eligible receiver out there on the field?
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
Fewer people were dropping passes.
Yeah.
Which is a very important thing.
And as Rodney pointed out yesterday, Barry, and I'm hearing it too, that they're very excited about the secondary. Some pieces in that secondary that are coming together. You know, they're like the big physical defensive back. So I'm hearing some good things about that as well. So, yeah, you know, it's just, I guess the dominant conversation in this time of year, that's what dominated the sports talk, whether it was us or whether it was with your buddies. What are you hearing? Did you go to the scrimmage? Do you know somebody that did? And I think maybe is this going to be our team? Are these guys that are practicing now going to be there in Tallahassee at the end of August for the opener? Or we're going to have a totally different look to our roster? I think there's a lot of that. People are concerned about that. They're a little uneasy about it. And maybe spring just doesn't hold, I don't want to say hold the weight, but it just maybe doesn't dominate the conversation or garner as much interest as it used to. And I think basketball has something to do with that around the entire league.
It should. These are actual games going on with competitive scorekeeping and referees and everything, and a chance to move on or go home. You know, I never could figure out why people got so geeked up about spring practice or spring scrimmages anyway, especially in this day and age, because as I think Bama Greg points out, why get excited on football anymore? The spring portal will open soon. Half the team may transfer out. Well, not half the team. That's hyperbole. But, you know, I mean, a lot of these guys, again, if you don't massage things and handle things right, for instance, you know, Rodney put on a little tag later on in another post. Austin Mack and Keelan Russell both had bright moments where they were able to move the offense. John, you got to throw that stuff in there.
Well, you do.
To keep them happy-ish, you know?
Yeah.
Because if they're riding the pine in spring and they're running with the threes, and all of a sudden one of those quarterbacks' uncle texts him and says, hey, I'm hearing from Kansas State, or, man, I just got a phone call from some guy from UVA or something.
Now, you
And
know,
they
Barry,
don't, you know?
what I would want to, here's, and I don't want to sound like the doom and gloomer.
Here
I
he
know,
goes.
I know it kind of sounds like that.
Yeah, usually we can tell when it's about to sound like that when
You
you're telling
know,
us you don't want it to sound like that.
Instead of Rodney throwing out a little blurb that Austin Mack and who's the other guy?
Keelan
Russell had bright moments in the scrimmage yesterday. That's just kind of to, pacify you, get you to the next scrimmage. What I would have liked to have seen, Austin Mack, Keelan Russell look terrible.
So,
They look like they should be in junior high. That's what I want to read. Now, we're not going to read that because that would start an immediate firestorm. Not only would the fan base go ballistic, but probably the coaching staff would too. And I get it. You don't want to lose your access, but those are kind of some things I'd like to read from time to time. But I guess it is encouraging that they held their own. This is what you'll read after the next scrimmage. I'm going to go ahead and predict this for you. Ty Simpson struggled a little bit. Austin Mack and Keelan Russell really shined in the scrimmage. That will be thrown out there so we can go all summer long. I don't know who the starter is going to be. Right now, it's too close to call.
I don't know that they can afford the website, not just Rodney, who I respect greatly, but all the people who have these fan websites.
Yeah.
I don't know that they can afford to be absolute total sunshine pumpers anymore. I thought it was interesting when Rodney told us yesterday.
Well,
he said, when Alabama was winning everything and kicking butt and taking names and rolling through everybody and joyless murder ball and everything, he said he actually lost some subscribers.
I couldn't believe that.
And Rodney, and Tighter Insider's the bomb. And Rodney, being a small business owner and being, attuned to customer relations, he didn't just say, oh, well, he called him up, right?
He did, yep.
Hey, how, did we do something wrong? Because there's something we can do better. And he said, no, it's just, I know we're going to win. I know we're going to win big. I know we're going to recruit #1 in the country. I know we're going to play for national championships and everything. So I really don't need to read about it anymore. I just, I'll just wait to see when they do it, and then I'll clap and everything like that. So every once in a while, Rodney's like, well, what have I got to do? Every once in a while I'll say, oh, this team's a load of crap this year. Oh, my gosh,
Barry,
stink. To keep people engaged,
to
add a little suspense.
Yeah, as you described those people that said they did not want to renew, my first thought was, there's only 6 of them? I mean, I can name you 6 right now.
Yeah, that are just like, just let me. I tell you what, I'll buy my season tickets. I'll get the seat licenses. I'll spend my money on, Tide Pride. I spend my money on the bleepity bleep.
Yeah.
The red. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say. And on the machine or whatever.
Oh, what?
Sorry, but if I'm not on the air Monday, that was just the reason why. But I'm not. I don't know. The Vanderbilt game at home. No. The we play Mississippi State every year.
See, Barry,
I may miss that. Just give me Tennessee.
Yeah.
Give me one good non-conference game. Give me the Iron Bowl, and then I don't know. I'll watch the rest of them.
So, see, I'm kind of the opposite, and I've been a very staunch supporter of websites that are directed toward one team. Some of the most interesting reading I found, Barry, was, I don't know, during the Alan Green, latter part of Gus Malzahn, the entire Brian Harsin era, the we're not going to postseason in basketball this year. We're gonna take a Yale in the first round. Those are the type
person.
Oh yeah,
getting
those are the types of those are the times that I like to read and get the inside scoop of what's going on, particularly from one writer in particular.
Mostly in retrospect. Well, this reporter told you from the beginning that Brian Harsin was not going to be a good fit at Auburn. And I'm thinking, did he?
No, he didn't say that. He waits till they're gone. And then he attacks.
Yeah, then all of a sudden he's Woodward and Bernstein.
Yeah, which I enjoy that type of reading as well. And now, Barry, you know what I'm prone to now? Will Auburn win the game tonight? Only time will tell. That's what I got to put up with now.
Well, we will talk more about that one. We will,
Yeah.
I guess the scrimmage is passé. We'll talk more about that one, break that down. At some point, we may have to touch very briefly on the Braves opening day performance yesterday. That may happen at some
We
point.
might
Maybe
do that.
not, depending on whether we have time. I'm big into Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel.
Man.
Maybe instead of a Braves report.
Yeah, well, no, we'll throw in a little Braves action
man,
because
just say
believe
you
it or
don't have
not, I was curious, and I channel surfed and I popped it on ESPN, saw 3 pitches of the Yankee Brewer game last night or yesterday afternoon. Milwaukee at the Yankees, 3 pitches, 4 maybe. I will say this: I like the Brewers.
If he made it to 4 pitches, somebody hit a home run at some point in there. He ain't watching 4 straight pitches where nothing.
Well, I will say this, Barry. It took a while for the 4 pitches to go across the plate, and I'm thinking,
it used to take a lot longer.
How do people endure this? But I will say this, Barry. I think the Milwaukee Brewer. I'm not so thrilled about their uniforms, but I think their catcher looks really cool.
Yeah.
Because the padding around the mask is yellow. You don't see a lot of yellow padding on catchers' masks. And the Brewers have, so that looks pretty cool. To me, though, it would be a distraction to the pitcher because he's seeing that yellow.
Well, that's the target. You want to hit the mask, right?
I thought it was the glove here, not the mask. But, that's what I took out of my 4 pitches. Man, that catcher looks cool.
Yeah, I actually went right past their stadium last week in Milwaukee. This was in Yankee Stadium, though, but they love the Brewers.
Yeah, boy, I bet they got a heck of a facility. Speaking of yellow, Barry, and I know they're probably going to take care of this maybe today. I know over the weekend they will because it's going to rain. But I'm noticing some yellow pollen on some of the vehicles here because the pollen is out and about. And I take something for it. I start really about mid-January, so I'm ready for it when it gets here. And everything's great. My nose, my throat, my coughing. But, man, my eyes, this pollen, I don't know what it is, has just been killing me the last couple of days. I feel like my eyes have like bags of concrete in them, and it's so full of pollen. I got to get me some eye drops. Woo! Man, does the pollen affect you?
It does. Not necessarily my eyes, but, for me, it gets in my sinuses. And then it hasn't happened lately because I've found a steroid, to be honest. Yeah. But I would lose my voice.
Oh, wow.
And in our business,
gotta have that.
We can't lose our voices.
No kidding.
So, get ready for that. It's about 8 minutes until the end of our first live hour of the show. We're in the showroom at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Love being in Prattville, Alabama. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Good. Let me see. There you go. Oh, recording's already started. 1. Hey, joining us again is Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. And Marianne, Easter's not far away. And I know at Marguerite's people love to come by and look at jewelry for Easter gifts, or maybe just need some new jewelry pieces for the Easter season.
Definitely. Well, Easter is definitely coming up, and we've got lots of great ideas. There's always christening or baptism gifts or, April birthdays. We have a wide selection of crosses. I'm amazed every time somebody comes in, they're like, well, do you have a cross or diamond winner? I want some with or without diamonds. And we're just like, yeah, they're all over. And they're expecting just this tiny little section. And we take them literally around the entire store because that's one thing that you can be guaranteed that Marguerite's will have a huge selection of crosses and lots of different price points. So we can have, baby gifts up to you name it.
Yeah. And of course, at Marguerite's, they're a full-service jeweler. So whether it's new jewelry items, whether it's repairs, or maybe you found something old that you want to bring back to life, put it into a new setting, something like that, Marguerite's can certainly help you out. But yep, we're here the Easter season, and of course, Easter gifts. Marguerite's has what you were looking for. You're at 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree. How about your hours of operation so our viewers and listeners can come by and see you?
Sure, definitely. We're open 7 days a week, 10 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Marianne and the whole staff at Marguerite's welcome you to come by and see them for all of the great jewelry items for Easter. Hey, Marianne, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Oh, here we go. Back at it here, about 6 minutes to the top of the hour. We are live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, Barry. They are the largest volume Ram dealer in Alabama and Northwest Florida. That's from like Tallahassee to Pensacola, from Pensacola up to Huntsville. That's a large area of land there that we're talking about. Largest volume. Why? Because they have Ram 1500 Laramie packages up to 17 grand off, plus 3.9% APR for 72 months. Or you can get that 1500 Laramie at up to $21,000 off, or 1.9% APR for 72 months. Need something bigger? 2,500 or 3,500 diesel Ram, up to 14 grand off. How about that?
Here's what I don't want you to do. I'm never big on giving advice unless I'm asked. I'm still figuring out life and going along meandering. But here's my advice. I don't want to see you do this.
All right.
I don't want to see you watching us and all these years when we've been broadcasting live from Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. I don't want you to say, John and Barry really like that place. They speak so highly about it. I tell you, honey, next time we drive up Cobbs Ford Road, let's slow down and take a look in that front lot and see what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
No. The front lot is amazing.
Yep.
It is full of amazing vehicles, but it ain't the only one. You look in the back, they got it like acres back there full of vehicles. You look on the side and the medians, they've got them packed in here. Just a small, slow roll past the front lot, and you're not doing yourself justice. You got something in mind, especially you don't see it out front, don't keep going. Walk in, talk to these people, because I guarantee you, guaranteed, they'll find the vehicle of your dreams and make sure you get it. There is a really good chance they've got it on the lot.
Sure.
So give yourself a chance for success. Don't be afraid to be successful in your car buying search. Come in to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. They got great people here all the way around.
Geez.
Cannot wait to help you out. They're proud of that sticker. They'll show you the sticker instead of trying to block you off like Diabate getting a rebound. They'll show it to you. Yeah, here it is. They'll give you an assist like Mark Sears does maybe 8 times yesterday.
How about this, Barry? End of the month as well.
Yes.
Advantage car buyer, because they want to meet and exceed those sales goals. How do they do that? By selling you the car, truck, or SUV that you want at the absolute lowest prices. And nobody's going to beat the prices that are right here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. So come by and see them on Cobbs Ford Road. We highly recommend that. All right, so I'm looking at some of the chats on our River Region Straw chat line. Dennis is up and active this morning. Dr. B, John, I got to kind of go back and scroll a little bit, Barry, because I'm just picking up the back end of some of these conversations.
Dr. B, Dr. B is one of my favorites. Love that guy. Bill says, Bill from Baltimore says, my wife wants to know who saw her Orioles crush 6 homers against the Blue Jays. Ooh. Birdland is over the moon today. As Bill knows, I have an affinity for Baltimore because one of my favorite broadcasters, Melanie Newman, who used to broadcast with us at Troy, is one of the broadcasters for the Orioles. Here's the scenario, and I know John won't believe this. We did watch some of that game. I had a women's basketball game to broadcast last night from the WNIT at Troy, and got everything set up.
And they're making it to the Final 8, I hear.
They are what they call the Great 8. They don't have the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4. They have the Super 16, the Great 8, and the Fab 4 in the WNIT.
All right.
Anyway, so getting it, and we go back into the back room, into the media room. There are a lot of graduate assistants who work at Troy in that type of thing. There's a lot of student workers. Adam Prendergast, who's the director of creative content and everything. We've worked with him before many times. They're all back there. There's pizza back there.
Oh, yeah.
Before the game, kind of chilling before the game gets started. We got to get to work. And they got the TV up there. And it's on Brewers,
Yankees.
And Yankees.
Yeah.
And then a little bit, Adam is a huge Blue Jays fan. And so he's tracking the Blue Jays and the Orioles, and the Blue Jays are just getting manhandled. I mean, he's given up on him
Ooh.
and everything like that. But it was funny, and I thought I was going to bring it up to you because there must have been, I mean, maybe 3 guys, maybe 5 guys who were in their 40s and older, including me. There must have been about 11 or 12 students in there. And every one of them was totally fixated on the baseball game.
Huh.
You know, they're like, oh, man, boy, I really need Devin Williams to get this save for the Yankees. And golly, let's go, Yelich. Come on, let's get a hit. Or, you know, man, you checking out the Blue Jays game? Man, Vlad Guerrero's about to get. I mean, young people. For those people who think baseball is dying, that the young people don't care. Now, granted, they were talking about, I need Devin Williams to get this save for my fantasy team. And man, boy, did you see what happened with the Braves? Man, Chris Sale just killed me with the Braves, you know, this and that and all that. I mean, there were, what did we do the math? 18 of us in there, random 18.
Yeah.
And every one of them was hanging. It wasn't the Braves. You know, everybody had their own favorite. Everybody was like, well, I don't know if they can hang on here. I mean, we were all locked in. Baseball all over the place. John doesn't have 18 friends who care about baseball.
No.
There were 18 random people in the media room at Trojan Arena.
I will say this. I'm glad you cleared that up and said
young people.
It was fantasy league baseball.
Yeah.
If they didn't have a little action on the game, which wouldn't have surprised me if they had a little action on it as well as Doc NBA, who actually spoke, how about this, Barry? I want to get off on a tangent. Had a 3-way call last night. Myself, Bart Heisch, and Doc NBA.
Forget
all
about
3 of us on the line at the same time after the Bama game. Bart's breaking it down for us all. Then we start getting into some other stuff. Oh, boy.
Oh, see, I want to hear about the other stuff.
It was awesome. But Doc NBA told me years ago, and I said, baseball's too dadgum boring. He said, you put $100 on a game, every pitch is exciting. And you know, he's right. So I'm thinking maybe that's what happened last night with this group of 18 people. But Bear, will say this. If I'm in a room, I don't know how big this room is, and there's 4 walls, and there's some pizza sitting on a table, and a bunch of stat sheets and whatnot, and then there's a couple of monitors, and there's some baseball up there. I mean, if it was Flavor of Love up there, I'd probably be watching it because I probably don't know all 18 of these people. I don't really feel like getting into a conversation. I'm not hungry. I don't want any pizza that's probably cold. So I'm going to go, how do I divert my attention away so I don't have to talk to Poindexter over here? Oh, I'll act like I'm interested in this Brewer-Yankee game or what's going on in the Toronto Blue Jay game, all knowing, all well, I don't really care one way or the other. I'm just going to act like I am.
Granted, John has early experience in these type of interactions because I'm not sure if he used to be the Rush chairman back in college.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, you're walking around, you got your, you know, you're of age. I think John was of age by the time he was a senior in high school.
That's correct.
But he's of age. He's got a Bud Light.
It was only 19 back then. I was not in high school at 21.
That's right. That's true. Yeah.
The drinking age was 19.
John was bebopping around at Rush and, you know, hey, how you doing? What's up? And all of a sudden he finds himself over in the corner with Jugdish and Norvik and all these people. John's a master of getting it. Well, guys, I got to hit the head real quick. You know, don't be shy about helping yourself to some punch and cookies, you know. Or
some Delta House punch and cookies.
Or he's acting like somebody is trying to get his attention from behind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. And they're looking back there and there's a wall behind them, you know.
So,
oh, yeah, well, you know.
If I'd only had a cell phone back then. Oh, wait a minute, my phone's vibrating. Hold on just a second.
Yeah.
See, that's
so
where.
So this is what John's like. John would be like, fellas, game's about to start outside, right? You need to go. Or, man, well, guys, I got to hit the head. You know, ain't nobody, but, you know, he starts walking towards the bathroom and they start looking at the game again. And then John darts outside, you know, real quick. He's a master at that kind of thing from way back.
That's where I got the label of, hey, what's up, big man? Hey, what's up? When'd you get in town? Hey, what's up, fella? Because all these Rushies, I had a hard time remembering all their names. I got to tell you, there's a lot of them coming through the house on a big party weekend. So there were a lot of buddies, big men, You know, people like that. Put your arm around them, slap them on the back, tell them going to brew don't cost nothing. You know, all that kind of stuff.
Smash their guitar on the staircase, all that kind of thing. So here's the news of the day. We start our second live hour.
You've been killing me. What happened to the Braves yesterday? Because I guess I could look and see what the score was, but I'd
rather hear it from me. He'd rather hear me say it.
Yeah.
The only thing more difficult than keeping a Braves losing a game off the airwaves is keeping John in the camera angle here. John's up here like in the top corner the whole time, and I'm like, move over.
Yeah.
So both shoulders and your head in the camera at the same time. Well, it was not a good day for the Braves. In San Diego, the Padres won it 7-4. Final score.
Wow.
It was a solid start. I mean, the Braves weren't terrible. They play again today.
Oh.
John notes it's one of those rare days where the Braves play an opening game and then don't have a day off. They play tonight, actually, near 9 o'clock out in San Diego.
And how could I be able to maybe watch this game?
All right.
I hear about
the
Braves and just can't watch them.
It's going to be, again, and somebody's going to have to, I'll figure this out sooner or later when I'm not busy as 5 men. It's FanDuel Sports South. I've heard of FanDuel.
Yeah, sure.
I've heard of Sports South.
They're regulated.
I didn't know there was a same
like
outlet. FanDuel and Sports South. It's like Sirius XM. Didn't they used to be competitors? FanDuel Sports South.
Bally Sports South?
Bally is in trouble. Bally Television is in trouble. I don't know what the status of it is. I'm with you on that. So many people that I know have MLB TV, and they pay hundreds of dollars for MLB TV.
What?
The problem is that they have all the local teams blacked out.
Whoa.
Bear in mind, Troy, Montgomery, Auburn is almost 2 hours away. Well, from Auburn, it's more than 2 hours away from Auburn. How are we still in that local market? I don't know.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. So yeah, I mean, if I want to sit down and enjoy a Braves baseball game on a long summer's night, I'm going to have to start looking around, or they want me to subscribe to some streaming service.
Well, you were paying cable
to watch them. You know, Barry, is there a way I maybe could sit out in my driveway and turn on the car and dial it up on the radio? Is there a radio affiliate anywhere close to where we are that I could listen to the Braves?
In Montgomery, no.
Huh.
In Troy, you can listen to big shout out, WTBF 96.3 FM, AM 970. You can listen to that, which I did yesterday because they played during the day.
Awesome.
But here's what I do. I am the app is called MLB At Bat. And I subscribe to that for the audio because I travel a lot, love to listen to a ball game and everything. And that's like $19.99 a year. Ooh, easy for me. So that's what I do most of the time. Now, we are kind of recapping everything.
So you're telling me a city of over 250,000 people and growing, the river region, probably more than that, a mere 2 hours from Atlanta, probably 2.5 to their new stadium, that there's not a radio station within this market that carries America's team. Am I being led to believe that this one guy that was walking down the hall, not even a part of this meeting, but overheard somebody in the meeting say, what about renewing the Braves? And this guy stopped in his tracks, backpedaled 4 steps and said, forget it. Don't need them.
I don't even think he backpedaled. I think you heard him from down the hall all throughout every office in the place, and all the suits in that meeting were like, all of them thought he was, like that little red devil with the pointy tail on their shoulder saying, no, don't you touch it. Why is there not? I put it to everybody. Why is there not a radio affiliate for the Atlanta Braves in Montgomery? Let me think of the reasons. This guy right here, he has done more to chase radio for the Braves out of the Montgomery market than any man alive. And he has the temerity, the audacity to say, you mean to tell me I can't listen to it on the radio? the halo over his head right here? It's because of him. Unbelievable.
I'd like a little appreciation and thanks on the River Region Straw chat line, if I could get it there, please. Or if you're absolutely infuriated and disgusted that I might have had a little something to do with the Braves not being. I mean, look, there are other radio stations; they can pick them up if they want to, but obviously they know it's a loser too.
In the news of the day, again, Bama fans are giddy, and they've got every right to be. Second straight year. They're one of the final 8 teams standing. They absolutely blew the doors off of BYU last night. Somebody told them they wouldn't, but they did.
I did.
They win by 25.
That's me.
And again, if you didn't hear anything about it, if you've been under a rock or something and are just tuning into the show maybe, Alabama wins it 113-88. They hit 25 three-pointers. That is an NCAA tournament record for a team. They took 51 three-point shots. John, they took 15 two-point shots. They only made 10 baskets that were not three-pointers in the whole game. And like I said, one of the craziest stats you'll ever see. If Alabama didn't hit a single two-point bucket the entire game, they still would have beat BYU.
They sure would have.
113-88. You do the math. They got 75 points from three-pointers, and they got 18 points at the free throw line. So they would have, you do the math, even without the two-pointers, Alabama would have still won that game by 5.
That's pretty impressive. That's a number that I'm not sure even the networks broke down, but that is pretty incredible. And yeah, Bama was very impressive. Big win, 113 points. And for what it's worth, I mean, it's, not going to get me through the rest of the day, but if BYU is not going to cover for me, then I hope they get blown out. And that was what happened. And they got blown out. So hate it for you, BYU.
Yep.
But I'm not, I got to tell you, Barry, BYU in the black uniforms, I guess the higher seed gets to wear what they want to wear. I mean, why don't?
No, it's not always that way. I thought that.
Yeah.
The higher seed gets to do what they want to do. They get to be the home team in the first round game, and I think they get to be the home. The higher seed gets to be, the home team in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
But like tomorrow,
they'll be wearing red.
I think it'll be Duke that'll get to
think
dictate that or
so,
something
too.
like that. It doesn't always have to be the same team.
So it was a tough one. I'm with you there. All right.
Tonight, Michigan and Auburn, things are set up. Again, I'm reminded of one of the great illustrations of being an Auburn fan from a friend of mine who used to, many years ago, run the Montgomery Parks and Recreation Department.
I know who you're talking about.
Great guy.
Yep, sure.
Bless his heart. He and I were sitting in the stands, virtually alone, beside each other at Patterson Field. I think it was a pre-conference baseball tournament.
Was that the night that Housel was there? And
No.
Okay.
This was before the game because the field was empty, and he was a big Auburn fan.
Yeah.
And of course, I was living in Auburn at the time, covering Auburn, and he and I were talking. We were doing the show. We had done the show that afternoon.
Yeah.
And he said, this is what frustrates me about Auburn people, the family. I'll never forget it, and I've told this story before. He said, there could be a steaming pile of, well, I can't say. There can be a steaming pile of
manure.
Refuse.
Yeah.
Right out there in the middle of center field. And there was nobody on the field. He said, and we're sitting in the stands, there could be a steaming pile of offal. In the middle of center field right now, and the Auburn fans would go out there, search for it, they would find it, and they would roll in it. Some of the Auburn fans out there, I kind of get that. But this, tonight, Auburn fans, you got to like it, right? You got to like the way things are. You're playing in Atlanta. You're the number 1 overall seed. Act like it. You got the number 5 seed in there. You got probably the player of the year in NCAA basketball. You're the SEC champions. Act like it. Fans, I'm telling you, Auburn is going to win that game tonight, and it ain't going to be all that terribly close.
I'll go ahead and give you a little sneak peek. Michigan is not the Phantoms' daily dog today. I'll go ahead and tell you that, so I can get that out of the way.
And they are
they're a dog, 8.5-point dog. I'm with you. I do think Auburn wins. I think they win big tonight. They win by double digits. They'll cover the spread. I get it. I'm with you there. But if they don't, they'll be looking for that pile of
poo-poo, according to Bama Greg.
They'll be looking for that pile of poo-poo somewhere on Peachtree Street tonight, so they can go roll around in it.
This ain't New Orleans where there usually can find on the French Quarter a pile of poo-poo.
Yeah, some horse that the city hadn't come to clean up after yet. And you're right, man. You got to watch where you're stepping in the quarter because those horses, you never know. But anyway,
and that lady in front of that house of ill repute with the big Adam's apple, don't step over there.
No, don't either. But they're going to win tonight. Yeah. I'm with you there. I agree. Seen a little of Michigan this year. Seen a lot more of Auburn. But if they do, it'll be meltdown city on Auburn message boards.
And
that's when you might want to go to Tider Insider message board.
No. This is why you stay tonight. If that happens, and I don't think it will, this is why tonight you want to stay on Auburn message boards.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've had a great year. I mean, Auburn's won 30 games. They are 30-5.
Yeah.
Great year. If they don't win a national championship, well, only one team does, right? This is what you'll see on Auburn message boards. We are not in the Elite Eight, and Alabama is.
Well, there's a little pressure there, Barry.
Am I right?
Yeah, because Bama's already punched their ticket to the Final Eight, and Auburn certainly feels like they're going to get there too. I agree. I think they will, but if they don't, yes, that's what you'll hear. They're in the 8. We're back home. What's going on here? Bruce can't, they'll be getting on Bruce. And I will say this, and I don't expect it to happen, but if things are going south and there's like 5 minutes left in the game and it ain't looking good, that might be when you'll want to get on the Auburn message board. Don't wait till the game's over. Go ahead and hop on about 5 minutes left.
Be like John and still be watching the game, but you got to get your laptop out. Not your phone, get your laptop out so you can see them all coming up and down.
Sure. And
John might not be watching with 3 minutes to go if Auburn's up 14.
No way.
But if Auburn's down 7, 3 minutes to go,
I'll be in the driveway. Mm-hmm. I'll be listening to Andy. You kidding me?
Yeah,
just irrelevant whistles. They're cheating us. Yeah, man, you kidding me? Don't be texting me if that's the case. I don't want to hear a bunch of dinging going on.
No,
but I'm not expecting that.
Well,
I want to be perfectly clear. I'm predicting Auburn to win by double digits.
What you, the viewer, can expect coming up. Phantom's Daily Dog, and we will break down who we got today.
A&M.
We got Texas A&M.
Yep.
Their number as far as win totals this fall,
6.5.
And Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland topic wheel. Didn't get to it yesterday. Without a doubt, he's added some more to it today because there's been more to add. We've still got a ton to get to here. Live on our Friday show, we are at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Cobbs Ford Road, Prattville, Alabama.
Yep, Barry, check this out. The Jeep lineup, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and the Jeep Wrangler Sierra.
Nice.
Both at up to $17,000 off or 0% for 72 months.
Right there.
It's your choice. Jeep Compass starting at just $21,999. Just a couple of great examples of the Jeep lineup here at Stivers, the Ram, the Dodge, the Chrysler. Nobody's going to sell you a vehicle at a lower price. The inventory is incredible. So much to choose from. Look, this isn't 2 or 3 of these models. They're just trying to get off a lot. Every car here is priced to sell, thousands in discounts, and you factor in the end of the month as well when they want to reach and exceed those sales goals. Now's the time to make that move to right here in Prattville, Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. Well, we're about 21 minutes past the hour here on this Friday live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Berry, Texas A&M is our next school. We've been going through every school in the SEC alphabetically. Don't know why'd you Alabama first? Alphabetically. Yeah. Vanderbilt will be last.
Yep, we did. We sang the little song A, B, C, D.
Yep.
So we're at T. We've gone through Tennessee. We've gone through Texas. We've got 2 more remaining. Vanderbilt always last in more ways than one.
Mm-hmm.
But now we go to the Texas A&M Aggies.
Had a pretty good season last year. I'm looking at their non-conference lineup.
Last year, pretty good for A&M. 8-5 under new coach Mike Elko. 5-3 in the SEC. But you remember they were smoking pretty good last year. They were doing all right. But they lost their last 3 games, beginning a 3-game losing streak, was a 4-overtime loss by 2 at Auburn.
I remember.
Then they had Texas and USC back to back. USC wasn't all that last year. They lose in Vegas to USC. They lose to Texas by 10. It's a 3-game losing streak, but
I think
they really had a chance to win. Just like
is another one like we talked about yesterday. I think the total's a little low, 6.5. I think that will be adjusted by the time we do this again after media days and before the start of the season. I'm expecting A&M to maybe be at 7, maybe 7.5. But I'd like to start off there with their non-conference games. I see A&M winning 3 of the 4 non-conference games that they play.
Here's what they've got. The Roadrunners of Texas San Antonio on the first Saturday. Then the Aggies versus the Aggies.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M versus Utah State.
Yep.
That's 2-0.
2-0.
Then a little splash of Aqua Velva, the skin tightener, the chinchiller, in South Bend.
Yeah, wow. Notre Dame. I still wonder, Barry, why there are some schools in this league that have yet to never have played Notre Dame.
And Mark, 4.7 seconds.
They are.
If I may say, that's a little slow for you.
It's a little slow.
Normally, when we first bring up Notre Dame, it takes John like 1.2 seconds to make a rough analogy that Auburn has never played Notre Dame.
Why
this
is
was
that?
4.7.
Yeah, why is that? I mean, Mississippi State's never played them. I get it. Kentucky's never played them. I get it. I think with South Carolina, Missouri, I know we were going back and forth with those two teams, but I do think Missouri's played Notre Dame. Not so sure about South Carolina, but I know
Anyway,
Auburn had.
Let me pull it back onto the
Yeah,
rails
so
here.
yeah, I mean,
Notre Dame on the road for Texas A&M, specifically Texas A&M. They don't win that game. Notre Dame wins it.
Yeah.
They're 2-1 in their first 3 before an off week.
Well, they got Samford later, so I think they're going to beat them.
Yeah. I forgot.
So they're going to win 3 of their 4 non-conference games.
Samford is right before the Texas game.
Yeah, so I
which,
think they're going to win
gosh,
that.
is back on the schedule.
Yeah.
That why they.
So after that loss
okay.
in South Benbury,
They're 2-1.
they welcome in the Auburn Tigers.
What did I say about Auburn, Texas A&M? I had Auburn winning that game
I think you did.
in College Station.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got Texas A&M at 2-2.
Woo, 2-2 out of the is Jackson Arnold going to be enough?
No, they need help. He's going to have
he
a little bit
is.
of Damari Alston.
Man.
Going to have a little bit of Eric Singleton, the Georgia Tech transfer. It can't just be Jackson Arnold.
Man, coming off a loss, you mean back-to-back losses after 2 wins against some marshmallows?
2-2.
I'm going 3-1. I think Auburn loses that one.
All right. So 3-1. I got 2-2. Mississippi State at home. Bulldogs will be better, but they were putrid last year.
Yeah. I got it 4-1. They're going to beat.
I got 3 and I got
They're going to beat Mississippi State.
You've got them 3-2. I've got them 4-1.
No, I got them beating Auburn. Their only loss to this point is at Notre Dame, in my book.
Oh yeah, I've got them 3-2.
Yeah.
You've got them 4-1.
I got them 4-1.
I got them 3-2 before they host the Florida Gators. They don't win against Florida.
I think that could be a loss. Yep, I'm with you there.
So I'm at 3-3 right now.
I'm at 4.
They've got to come up with 4 wins in their final 8 games.
Yep.
They can do that. They beat Arkansas in Fayetteville.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I got them losing to LSU.
Yep.
But I've got them winning at Missouri.
Huh.
Let me do the math there. That
Okay.
is, all right. That is 9 games in. I've got them at 5-4.
I've got them at 6-3.
Okay, so all you need is 1 more win,
Yeah.
and they'll. Did we count Samford? They'll win Samford later on. They've got South Carolina, then they've got Samford, and then they're at Texas.
Well, Barry, I already had Samford counted as a
Correct.
win.
Okay. Yeah. All right. There you go.
I'm not sure they can beat South Carolina, and I'm not
they're
sure
at
they can
home.
beat Texas. But that South Carolina game is at home. Right now, I'm going over at 7-5.
Right now, I am going under at 7. Only
no,
a half
it's 6.5.
game. Oh, 6.5.
Yeah.
Well, I got them going over.
Yeah.
I got them 7-5. Although, I'm with you on 2 things. Number one, it ain't going to stay at 6.5.
No.
They'll adjust it during the summer and especially towards the fall. Number 2, believe it or not, Texas A&M has a way of competing their behinds off against the Longhorns.
They do. I'm with you.
I'm not I'm not one of those ESPN predictor things that says they got a 99% chance of losing to Texas. I think their chance of losing to Texas is more like 66%, 70%.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be the most shocking thing ever? And believe me, they ain't going to the SEC championship.
No, they're not.
But if they close the regular year with a win over Texas, that's going to be a successful year.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Barry. There's some schools in our league that, going to the championship games, not as big of a deal as beating your in-state rival. So you want to mark that?
We got 2 references to another school that we're not even talking about as we go down another team's schedule.
You got to multitask.
That's 2. Yeah.
I think, Barry, that's why this format and this duo has lasted so long. Being able to intertwine other programs and other schools
Yeah.
into a conversation that you're not even talking about them.
So we both got them going over.
Yes.
Let's write that down.
Barely over.
Barely, but again, almost without a doubt, I will have a different prediction when there's a different number. I think the number's going to go higher.
Yep.
Right now, I've got them going over the 6.5, but only by a half game. I think that number will rise later on from Vegas, and I may go under on it at that point. But right now,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I've got them going barely over.
I'd be too.
Still to come on the program in a moment, the Phantom's Daily Dog.
That's coming up.
And we'll also hit Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland topic wheel. We'll hit
Also,
it hard
and I don't know if this is on the topic wheel. Maybe it will be. Who knows? But Barry, tonight, it is the start of the UFL.
That is tonight.
We're talking some UFL football today before we wrap up as well. And yes, do you think the Daily Dog could be in the UFL? Could be, maybe.
You caught me by surprise.
It starts
Wouldn't
tonight.
Be the strangest thing ever. We got that coming up.
Yes, we do.
Battlehawks, Roughnecks.
Yeah.
Brahmas are the Renegades.
Uh-huh.
Showboats and Stallions.
They play, the Showboats and the Stallions play Sunday, I believe.
It's going to be great.
Oh,
yeah,
cannot
still
wait.
to come. All of that in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Okay, back at it here, Barry. We're live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where Price sells cars. Great lineup of Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler products here for you to choose from. Alabama's largest volume Ram dealer and Northwest Florida as well is right here at Stivers in Prattville. End of the month. Can't emphasize that enough. They want to move these vehicles out. They want to meet and exceed their sales goals. That means they are slashing those prices even further. Deeper discounts for you. Come by and see them today. The first of the month is Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
This weekend,
So you got a couple of
starting
days.
today. Great time to come out to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and make your deal. All right.
Okay. So here's the deal, Barry. It's been a rough week for the fans.
It's been a rough week.
It's been a tough week.
You know,
There's no doubt.
sugarcoating it.
No,
not the place for
we're
it.
not going to tap dance around it. Hadn't had as many wins as we wanted. The prior week, we were 4 out of 5.
Pretty good. Yeah.
It's funny how Chris the Bammer and others don't bring that up on the chat line, but boy, Phantom hits a little little dry spell, well, we hear about it, but we know that's been kind of the way things have gone over all these years. People like to take a little shot at the Phantom, and we know it's all in fun. And sometimes we get some praise, but we're moving on from last night, and we're looking at tonight. Now, I just kind of teased you with the UFL. Somebody earlier in the week asked, will the Phantom pick UFL games? I can't speak for the Phantom, but if I had to guess, I'd probably say yes, he will.
If, just theoretically, for those of you who are unsure of the concept.
Yep.
And again, I've never bet on anything in my life, but I know this to be true. If you were in the fall to place a legal bet in one of the 39 states in which you can.
Yeah, 39. Go figure.
At an NFL game, let's just say Cowboys and the Commanders.
All right.
And you call up your man or do whatever. Let's just say call him up.
Okay.
Call up your man and say, give me the Commanders minus the 6.5. And you win it, they pay you in American cash.
That's correct.
If you pick the Battlehawks over the Brahmas in the UFL and the Battlehawks cover, you get paid in those same American dollars.
That's
they
a fact.
Spend exactly the same.
That is true.
Don't be, to use a verb, poo-pooing on the UFL.
No. There again, I've heard it said many a time. In the mid-'80s, the USFL got me through school in the spring.
Well, it's not as though
it was a cash cow.
It's not as though he was on academic scholarship.
No.
So, he's watching his pennies.
Yes.
For sure. And, it's not just tuition. It's not just books. It's living expenses.
It's living expenses.
Account as well.
I mean,
and
you can
believe me, the living expenses were pretty much funded by the U.S.
You're right.
USFL.
Well, Barry, the living expenses that I wanted to encounter that were up to my level.
It's not ramen noodles. It's not hamburger helper without the hamburger. It's not grape Kool-Aid.
No, because you can only.
There were other living expenses.
And this varies before texting. So, my children would just text me, hey, Dad, how's it going? I sure do miss you. Love you lots. I need a little extra cash.
Yes.
That's usually what the text said.
Little thing called Venmo.
Yeah. And of course, I just was a sucker and I go, how much you need, honey? Whatever. You could only call Pops.
The difference is both of the daughters to this point, and now there's another one.
Yep.
Both of the daughters were outstanding students.
Yes, they were.
Unlike
Correct.
Dad over here.
Yes, that's right.
If they asked for it, I would say they probably deserved it a little bit more than Dad's living expenses.
Yeah, and you're right. And I got a little shout out. Number 3 child, who's a freshman at Alabama, made straight A's in his first semester. So I don't know where that got me from his mother. But I can only call Pops up so many times. So, hey, Pops. But here's what's my favorite. Hey, we're having an assessment at the frat house. We're having this big cleanup for a big homecoming. So when y'all come up here, the place will look great. That got over on that one maybe 2 years. How many times y'all cleaning that place up?
Man, that place must be spotless.
Yeah. So the USFL, I didn't have to call Pops up as much. They helped me out a lot.
Right.
So in saying that, maybe that'll happen. But Barry, we're going to State Farm Arena tonight. And I've already told you.
2 games played tonight.
That's right. I've already told you Auburn is going to beat Michigan, and they are going to beat them by double digits. So that eliminates Michigan from being the Phantom's daily dog.
They're not a dog.
So we're going to go to Ole Miss taking on Mississippi State. The Spartans are a 3.5-point favorite in a game at 6:09 this evening on CBS.
It's the first game of 2 today from State Farm Arena. Auburn, Michigan being the second. Ole Miss, Michigan State will be the first. Michigan State is the favorite.
Yep.
Ole Miss is playing well. Will it factor in that if Ole Miss is in the game late, that there are some Michigan fans who probably bought session passes that are going to be in there screaming hotty-totty as loudly as they can? That might be a factor.
I think it could be a factor. Be really interested to see how many Ole Miss fans have made the trip to Atlanta. You would think that they would, since they hadn't been to the Sweet 16 in a long time.
Well, also the fact that their football fans haven't been to Atlanta like maybe ever.
Yeah, no kidding. You're right. So we're going to take Ole Miss plus the 3.5, the Phantoms daily dog, the Rebels.
Gosh almighty.
Catching 3.5. Catching 3.5 tonight against Michigan State.
I like that. I like that very much. Let's take a break.
Let's do it.
When we come back, Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland Topic Wheel.
Yes.
We are live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination Golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
19 minutes to the hour here on a Friday, beautiful Friday here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. The Victoryland 777 Topic Wheel. Gurn's going to load that up for us here in just a moment. We're going to get to those. But, Barry, the UFL starts tonight. It is at 7 p.m. on Fox. You're going to have to help me with these cities.
All right.
Battlehawks and the Roughnecks tonight on Fox. St. Louis is a 6-point favorite. Are they the Battlehawks, I believe?
St. Louis is the Battlehawks.
Okay, all right.
Yes. The Roughnecks is Houston.
Houston. Okay.
Yes.
Don't have a feel. Really don't have a feel for any of these. I need to watch a little UFL.
I can tell you this. The dynasty in the UFL was the dynasty in the USFL before they merged with whatever the other one was.
Good point.
And that is the Birmingham Stallions.
Yep. They don't play till Sunday. They are the last game of week 1. The Stallions are at the Defenders. That's DC, I believe.
Yeah, the DC Defenders.
Birmingham's a 7-point road favorite. Woo!
Yeah. Here's what to remember. A couple of interesting notes about the personnel in the USFL. I'm sorry, the UFL.
I'll still call it the USFL.
The UFL.
Yeah.
Former Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral. Remember him? He is a backup for the Birmingham Stallions.
Sure. Whoa,
backup. He's not even the starter. He's a backup behind a guy named Alex Magoo, who used to play for Florida International. Also, do you remember this name?
Okay.
By the way, former Auburn tight end Sal Cannella is one of the best players in the UFL now for the Arlington Renegades.
Was he a tight end? Or
he was a tight end.
Every time I think about that, I think of salmonella?
Yeah, that's a disease, Jimmy.
I'm thinking, how do you have a name Sal Cannella?
San Antonio, their quarterback was the absolute most hated football player in Philip Marshall's lifetime.
Wait a minute.
Former Texas A&M star Kellen Mond,
Yes.
who
he did
was
not
one
like
of
that
only
guy.
3 quarterbacks in SEC history to pass for over 9,000 career yards and run for over 1,500. The other 2, Tim Tebow, Dak Prescott.
Yep.
For some reason, Philip Marshall hated Kellen Mond. He's now the starting quarterback for the San Antonio Brahmas. Here's another one. The St. Louis Battlehawks,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have A.J. McCarron anymore.
Whoa.
I forget where he is. Their new starting quarterback, Max Duggan from TCU,
All right.
Heisman Trophy finalist, played in the national championship. Well, appeared in the national championship game. He is now a quarterback for the St. Louis Battlehawks, which, by the way, is the 2nd best team in the UFL. Right now.
Yes.
So, there you go.
The Renegades are what city again?
The Arlington.
No, they're the Defenders.
No. The Renegades.
Renegades are Arlington, Texas.
Yes.
Then you got the Michigan Panthers taking on the Showboats.
That's Memphis.
Memphis.
That's the old Walter Lewis.
Yeah.
team.
So of the USFL of the 80s, you had the Stallions, the Panthers, the Showboats. Wasn't it the Orlando Renegades?
Yeah, under they began as the Washington Federals, and then they moved to Orlando. Lee Corso coached them. Craig James was there. You had the Oakland Invaders and the Oklahoma Outlaws and the Houston Gamblers.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Oklahoma City Thunder, New Jersey Generals, LA
No, it
Express.
wasn't the Oklahoma City Thunder. No, that's basketball. It was the Oklahoma Outlaws.
Oklahoma
Because don't you
Outlaws,
remember?
yes.
You had the Oklahoma Outlaws. They ended up merging with the Oakland Invaders.
Yes.
And somebody thought they ought to be called the In-Laws.
Yes,
At
correct.
that point, which is scary.
Then you had Boston, New Orleans, and Portland that were all the Breakers.
Oh, the Breakers.
The Breakers.
Yeah, Marcus Dupree. Anyway, we don't want to get off
Yeah.
too far on that one, but those may be in the Phantom's
Could be.
dog of the day. Right now, though, it's Gurn Jr.'s
Yes, it is.
Victoryland topic wheel.
What does he have for us here?
We've got plenty of time
Look
here.
at all
He did
those
add a
topics.
couple here.
Yeah,
All
he
right, I
did.
like that. Let's get it going.
All right, spin the wheel,
Spin that
Gurn.
baby.
Let's see what happens.
Make
The
Chris the
Victoryland
Bammer happy.
777 topic. Oh, start. Well, Barry, you mentioned
Yeah.
Troy, the Lady Trojans.
They win last night in the WNIT, what they call the Super 16. I had the radio broadcast on that one. They win in overtime, 88-86 over North Texas, to win and move on to what they call the Great Eight, which is going to be Saturday night. That's not right. It'll be Monday night. They leave on Saturday for Fargo, North Dakota, to take on North Dakota State.
Didn't Alabama play a regular season game in Fargo this
Either
year?
Alabama or Auburn did. I know Auburn did at one point. I know Alabama did because of Grant Nelson.
Yeah.
But that has happened before. So there is that. Also, tonight starts a big 3-game baseball series. The number 17 Troy Trojans in Sunbelt play against the Marshall Thundering Herd tonight at 6 o'clock, tomorrow at 3:33, and then Sunday at 1. It's a Masters-themed weekend.
Oh, sweet.
First 200 fans tonight get a Masters-themed Troy hat, I believe.
Okay.
Tomorrow, the first 200 fans get a Masters-themed T-shirt. And on Sunday, you get a Troy Masters-themed golf ball.
How about that?
Get your tickets at troytrojans.com/tickets. It's a big one.
Can you bring your Masters cup and pour your beer in it and drink it at the game, maybe, if you wanted to do that? You have a green Masters cup?
I think you can.
Probably could. Now, I don't want to get ahead of
it in with beer.
No,
but
I don't want to get ahead of myself, Barry, but just to let our viewing and listening audience know, I want to make sure I heard this correctly. You're going to be on an 8-day Troy baseball road trip. Troy's playing 7 games in 8. Who do they think they are, Swanee?
This is what it looks like real quick. Next week, Troy plays again on Tuesday against Florida A&M. That is a noon start on Tuesday for a couple of reasons.
Tallahassee.
In Troy.
Okay.
Played in Tallahassee this past Wednesday and won. They've got Florida A&M Tuesday at noon. It's Education Day. A lot of local school kids get to kind of get a day to come watch the game. And that gives Troy a chance after the game to take off early because Troy has a long road trip, longest I've ever been on in 23 years. Old Dominion on the road for 3 in Norfolk, Virginia. Then a week from Tuesday, Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech in midweek action, and then at James Madison on that trip as well for 3 games. So we'll actually be leaving next Tuesday afternoon, and we won't get back to Troy until the following Monday, I believe.
Man, it's a lot of baseball action. We'll keep you updated on that throughout the week.
Troy.
Next week. All right, Gurn, let's spin it again. The Victoryland 777 topic wheel is up. Man, I see some of these topics.
Hey, Getty Lee says, Barry, are you ready for Columbus minor league baseball? The Clingstones.
What?
The Columbus Clingstones. That's a kind of a peach. Anyway.
Feeling giddy. Hey, feeling giddy.
Ooh,
oh, Barry, how about this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
His name
NBA.
guy, Josh Giddey, who had almost a quadruple double or something. Now, they beat the Lakers on this.
Yeah, love it.
From right at midcourt.
Oh, it was 47 feet.
Which is right at midcourt.
Yeah.
Giddey hits a 3, and the Bulls beat the Lakers. LeBron, who yesterday was on the Pat McAfee show, here it is again. This is what you practice in the driveway.
There's the light, the red light. Ball's halfway there.
And this will be a good angle for it here if I'm right. Go ahead and run it, Gurn.
Beautiful.
Josh Giddey, who you honestly, be honest, we've never heard of before in your life, has been talked about on this program twice in the past.
And Barry,
7
you know,
shows.
the interesting thing about it, for the Lakers, the night before in Indianapolis, LeBron tips it in with like a second to go. I mean, it's barely off his hand. The red light goes off, the horn sounds, but the Lakers win against the Pacers. Then they get it back at them last night. And just a quick NBA note, I'm watching the game last night with some guys, and ticky-tack fouls are being – well, first of all, Barry, this blew my mind. They played over 7 minutes. It's 7.5 minutes. A foul had not been called in the Alabama-BYU
Get
game.
out.
I'm thinking no fouls?
Yeah.
Then we get to the second half.
Here's what you need to do. BYU, you need to clock somebody. You know, because if you let Alabama just play – they're going to run you out of the gymnasium, boys. Knock somebody over.
Sure.
Put somebody in the scorer's table just to
Come on.
break the tempo.
7.5 minutes before a foul was called. Then in the second half, the whistles started blowing, but it was ticky-tack type stuff. You know, a little grabbing at the hip as a guy's going by him. I'm going, you got to be kidding me. They'd never call anything like that in the NBA. There again, refs, put the whistles in the pocket. Don't blow them all the time. That was a great 7.5 minutes of that BYU-Bama game with no fouls called.
Yep.
All right. Let's see what's on the wheel, Gurn. Let's spin it.
Man, we're on a roll.
We
here,
are on a roll.
Here we go, Gurn.
4 more topics to go. I think we can squeeze them in before the top of the hour. And it's going to land on
Phantom
fallacy. We've got a tough week. We know that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, come on. An NCAA tournament record, 25 three-pointers. The old record was 21, set by Loyola Marymount in 19. Might have been against Alabama.
I think it might have been.
Mark Sears, 10 three-pointers by himself, one off of the tournament record. The single greatest, statistically, the single greatest shooting performance in March Madness history. And you think the Phantom should have taken that into account? Come on.
Yeah, you know, hey, the facts are the facts. And Gurn presented the facts there. Based on how Alabama was shooting prior to that game, I think I was on a pretty good path. I mean, struggling from the three-point arc, turning the ball over, not playing great defense.
Yep.
Well, they took care of all that last night in prime fashion, scoring 113 points.
And you think the Phantom should have known that? Come on, people. You weren't thinking it. Why are you getting on the Phantom for thinking it? We've got to save this for a topic wheel later on. Mark Sears, 34 points, 10 three-pointers. He is Mr. March Madness for the Crimson Tide. Later on, we'll discuss, no matter what happens with Alabama the rest of the way, is Mark Sears the best college basketball player ever at the University of Alabama? I know Robert Ory won like 6 NBA titles. Derek McKee, Colin Sexton, whatever, Gerald Wallace,
Mule King.
Leon Douglas, whatever. Is Mark Sears the most productive, most successful college basketball coach, a college basketball player in Alabama history? We'll discuss.
Well, this is a good topic for later.
Yeah.
Will they ever retire his number? Because Leon Douglas's number has been retired. I don't know of any other Alabama athlete that's ever had a number retired. I know they ain't a football player.
He is the driving force behind back-to-back Elite Eights for Alabama. He already has one Final Four, and he's the reason why. Something to think of later on. Mark Sears,
an Alabama native,
best ever at Alabama. What do you think? Well, let's continue on.
Let's continue on. Yep. Let's see what else is on the wheel. That is something to
noodle on.
The noodle on. I like that. All right, we're coming up with. Is this a batting average or an area code?
Does it have something to do with marijuana? Because there's something begins with a 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
464-pound Desmond Watson may be the biggest draft. I saw that dude. He plays for Florida. He
464.
I think he wears a XXXX jersey. He's number 21. That guy is huge. They put him in the middle, and basically all they tell him to do is just don't go backwards. And I mean, when he's in there, anything in the A gap is a lost cause.
He ran the 40 in 5.93 seconds. I mean, that's not too far off a 4.975.
Which was what John ran in the Capital City Combine when he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that Desmond Watson can run a 40 at all.
No kidding.
I'm surprised that guy can finish a 40. Look, if you
he can finish a 40.
I know, a 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
Probably one of the reasons why he got to 464 is because he can finish a 40. But if you just just forget about the numbers, just forget about it. If you want a run plugger in the middle who can play maybe 3 plays at a time before you got to sub him out, you put him in the middle,
Barry,
I'm telling you, the middle is taken care of.
This is a guy that the Cowboys, the Commanders, and the Giants need to think about drafting. So when they play Philadelphia twice in a year and they're doing push, they put this guy right there in front of Jalen Hurts.
No kidding. If you've seen his tush, believe me, that takes about 6 or 7 people to push tush him. He can do it himself.
Yes. All right.
Let's get a couple more.
We got to get 2 more in, Gurn. We got to be
3
able to
minutes to do it.
sweep the board today. 2 more topics. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, and it's going to land on.
This is Dion and Shador.
We're
talking Sanders here.
All right. What do we got going on here? Because Shador is going to be the number 1 overall pick, I got to think.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
He says he's not trying to steer Shador Sanders to any specific destination in next month's draft and would be happy wherever his star quarterback son is selected. That was on Skip Bayless' show. If it's New York, it's New York. If it's Tennessee, would he feel the same way if it was, it ain't going to be Charlotte.
No.
They've got a quarterback who had to get the snot knocked out of him.
Where are the Saints picking? Whew.
The Saints would be perfect.
They could certainly use a quarterback.
The Saints would be, that'd be the thing. That'd be perfect.
Not only are the Saints, I don't know where they are on the draft. They're not in the top 5, but I did see that the Pelicans are like, in terms of percentage in the lottery, how many balls they're going to have in the machine. They're like the 4th highest favorite to get the number 1 overall pick, which could be the young man Free from Duke. I'm just, holding out. They did that with Jamison Williams when they got him from Duke. And the Pelicans got the number 1 pick that year.
Zion Williams.
I'm sorry. Maybe they could do it again with this young man from Duke.
Cooper Flagg. If you watched him yesterday, you know why he's the number 1 pick in the draft. He is the truth. One more.
Yep, 1 more. And I'm looking forward to this and spin it to make it official. Timing is everything, Barry. I've said that my entire life. Timing was not good for former Tennessee head football coach and former Alabama defensive coordinator Jeremy Pruitt. $100 million he's claiming in lost wages.
The former Alabama assistant coach was fired as the head coach at Tennessee in January 2021 amid an NCAA investigation into recruiting violations. He is filing a lawsuit alleging that the NCAA conspired with the University of Tennessee and other parties to make Pruitt a sacrificial lamb. It's been filed in DeKalb County, Alabama. I don't think there is a DeKalb County, Alabama.
Is there?
Have they?
I know there's 67 counties. Is there a DeKalb County? I think there is a DeKalb County. I know there's one in Georgia.
There's one in Georgia. He is claiming $100 million in lost wages as a result of the process.
I also heard, Barry, that during that, while that was going on, he was told, or he was quoted as saying, he talked to Philip Fulmer about it. He was the athletic director at the time, and Philip said, "We'll handle it. We'll take care of it.
Trust me."
That sounds like something I heard back in the 90s. Don't worry.
He was hit with a 6-year show cause order. Tennessee basically skated on it because of their willingness to cut a deal with the NCAA.
There you go, Barry.
I'm sorry for I drew a blank there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't name all 67 counties in Alabama.
That's where the waterfalls, the DeSoto Falls.
Where is my head?
Yeah.
Of course I know DeKalb County.
Hey, I knew there was
and I think that's where Pruitt is from.
Okay. Yeah, is that around Mentone and up in that area?
No, it's not that far north, but yeah, it's over there.
Okay. Man, Gurn, good job. Good pull today. All right, Barry, as we wrap up here from Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer, where you can get Ram Laramie pickup trucks at up to $17,000 off plus 3.9% APR for 72 months, or get that same Laramie 1500 at up to $21,000 off, or 1.9% for 72 months. Need something a little bit more sturdy? How about a 25 or 3500 Ram diesel? You can get those at up to $14,000 off. Great deals on the Jeep Wrangler, Sierra, and Jeep Grand Cherokee, both up to $17,000 off or 0% for 72 months. So many great deals here, Barry. Our viewers and listeners need to come see for themselves. End of the month, got a couple of days before we turn the calendar, and that's when you get your absolute best deal. But don't tell them we told you that.
Make the trip in style to, I don't know, Fort Payne or Rainsville or Henniger or Mentone. Mentone is in DeKalb.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
Crossville, and apologize to all of my friends in DeKalb County that I just had a brain lock, and I'm thinking DeKalb County, Georgia. Get on over there in a Stivers vehicle from Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Our producer, Gurn Jr., fabulous. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.